Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to the Jon DiVito Show. It is Tuesday, which the good news about that is that means it's no longer Monday, right? So Tuesday is one day better than Monday. We're almost to Wednesday, so we can start humping it tomorrow. So Tuesday's all good. I'm happy with it being Tuesday. Eric Kirk, welcome to the show. My brother, good to see you. So we get a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about today, and going to talk about the weekend again a little bit. I'm still reminiscing about this past weekend, about some of the news stories going on, some funny news stories, and just some other things going on. We're going to freestyle a little bit. So I hope everyone is having a great day. Hopefully you all enjoyed the Old Man Show, and I look forward to hopefully having a nice full room of people this morning to chat with. So everybody sit back, chill, relax. If you need another coffee, fill it up now. And I got to update you guys on my diet. That's going well also. Oh, I love that music, my intro music, which I'm very happy with. So anyway, welcome to the Jon DiVito Show. It is Tuesday, September 21st. And how can it be that we're almost into October? So, and Eric, I'm going to eventually talk to you about that. I saw Milt Dog is in the hospital. I saw it on Instagram, and I did watch the video, and I made a comment about him. But at some point when we get to that part of the show, I'm going to have you, come in when we have a full room and talk a little bit about Milt Dog. I mean, for everybody that knows Milt Dog is just an icon on Podbean. He's on all the time, and he's been kind of documenting some of his struggles with his health. And unfortunately, Milt Dog is in the hospital right now. So I'm hoping that Milt Dog is going to be okay, and all of that as well. And I didn't realize this. I see also Eric is mentioning that Dina Joe is having a difficult time also, where Lewis's mother passed away suddenly late last night. That's awful. Those are the things that are just so scary about life. And, we've had so many shows in the past where we've talked about embracing life, doing the best you can to live every life with 100% of what you have, live every day with passion, because you really never know. You never know when it's going to be your last day. I was up with my father yesterday. He has failing health. He's 81 years old, or he's going to be in October. And, he has dementia, he has stroke, and he's really struggling taking care of himself. And I worry about him all the time. We've certainly dealt with that over the summer, where we lost my father-in-law back on July 1st. He was a great man. And then my father-in-law has four brothers. Two of them, one has passed away a month after his brother. And then another one of the uncles, my wife's uncles, is now in a nursing home because he had a severe stroke. So I'll tell you, when you start losing family members, when you start losing loved ones, that's one of those things that's just so difficult. So I see Eric making the comment that we won't be tolerating any trolls coming in, disrespecting others. Oh, of course not. No, I mean, that's one thing. Hey, secret lover, welcome to the show. That's one thing we don't do in the Jon DiVito Show. I mean, we don't put up with trolls. We don't put up with bullies. We don't put up with people who are disparaging other people. So for me, I'm a big fan of Milt Dog. He's a great guy. He used to come into my show quite a bit before he had his own podcast, and I just love the guy. So I'm hoping he's going to be okay. One thing about him is we follow each other on Instagram. He always likes all my kids' posts about sports and things like that. He's just a good guy who's been through a lot. So, and absolutely, I mean, Dina Joe, I mean, I know that a lot of you know Dina Joe. You're in the Old Man Show. You go and see, her show, and she is a wonderful person. Now, one of my children has been through a difficult time over the last few years. Dina Joe goes out of her way to write handwritten cards to my child. She sends my children money when they graduate from school and things like that. Like my son Matt, who has autism. Hey, Mr. T, what's up, brother? So Dina Joe has sent money to my oldest son Matt, who has autism, when he graduated from high school. I mean, we've never met Dina Joe. We have never, we've only talked in person a couple of times. We've been on Podbean together, but she is a tremendously loving, wonderful person. And we don't put up with any of that stuff in the Jon DiVito Show, as Eric knows. So anyway, I want to go over some of the news really quickly, and then I'm going to open up the phones and let Eric call in and whoever else may want to call in. So keep in mind, I'm switching over to the news page right now. I'm not going to be able to see you for a few minutes if you make comments. But one of the things I've been talking about a lot, and this is really starting to upset me. And, this whole Gabby Petito situation, this beautiful young woman was dating this Brian Laundrie, And it's obvious that Brian Laundrie is the person that ended her life. They found her body out west this past weekend, and there were reports that he was abusive, he was hitting her, he was extremely controlling. And then, the whole thing with this Brian Laundrie is he, he, when she went missing, he just left. He left and went back to the East Coast and left her there. I mean, for me, if my wife's missing or my daughter's missing or one of my sons is missing, I'm not leaving. I'm staying. I'm talking to the police. I'm talking to the FBI. I'm volunteering whatever help I can offer. I'm literally pounding the streets looking for her. I'm, putting up posters, doing whatever I can to find her. And for this clown to get up and just leave and go to the East Coast. I mean, I hate to label someone guilty, but literally everything is pointing at this guy right now. And if he didn't do it, come out and speak to the police. Turn yourself in, speak to the police, and let them know it wasn't you. But I mean, the guy obviously is a coward. He's in hiding. And he ended the life of a beautiful young woman. I pray for her family. I pray for her. But one of the things that's really starting to aggravate me right now is I'm starting to see now people are coming out and not just criticizing the person that killed her, Brian Laundrie, but also criticizing Gabby Petito as, there's a woman that is in the media. She's known pretty well. Her name's Joy Reid. She came out and framed the Petito story as missing white woman syndrome. Now, you know what? I understand that a lot of people feel very strongly about racism in this country. I understand that people feel that they need to spin things in different directions. But let's not forget, this is a young woman who was murdered. She was murdered. And for you to come out and try to turn this political, it shows me, honestly, Joy Reid, that you're a disgusting human being. You are a disgusting human being. From my perspective, I don't care what color you are. If you're missing, you're missing. If you've been murdered, you've been murdered. I came out when George Floyd was murdered and did 2 shows. That even though George Floyd was a career criminal, he was murdered. And I came out, and that was the title of my 2 shows when that happened. I did 2 full shows on George Floyd and how it was unacceptable how he was murdered by police. Okay? Now, I'm a guy I back the blue. I've got a bumper sticker on the back of my car. Not all police officers are bad, but in this case, this one police officer made a horrible judgment and error and ended a man's life. Here, we have a beautiful young woman. It doesn't matter that she's white. It doesn't matter what her nationality is. It is a tragedy. It is a tragedy anytime a young woman, a young man of any color loses their lives in a manner like this. So for this person, Joy Reid, to come out and try to turn this into a racial thing, it just absolutely disgusts me. Then on top of that, you got CNN's Don Lemon, who in my opinion is the biggest clown on the face of the earth. I can't stand this guy. Don Lemon, if he were a white man talking about black people the way this black man talks about white people, he would literally be labeled the biggest racist in the United States of America. The man is an out and out racist. He is a horrible person. And he is now even saying that the killer is suffering from white privilege. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, he is a murderer. The police are looking for him. He is in hiding. They can't find him. There's like literally a nationwide manhunt against this guy right now. I mean, how is he suffering from white privilege? I don't understand any of these things. I don't understand why everything that happens in this country has to turn political. But, for me, I'm still thinking of Gabby Petito's family and just praying for them. And you're right. I'm back on the page now. I can see you guys. Mr. T, it is trash. I agree completely. I see someone saying good morning. I got to scroll back up. Oh, it's Snow Pro. What's up, Snow Pro? How you doing, brother? But listen, I got to tell you guys about something else. I'm done ranting about Gabby Petito. My heart is still broken. I hope they find this jackass that took her life. And honestly, I've been rewatching the old TV series Dexter. We need a guy like Dexter who could just handle guys like this guy Laundrie and just put him out of his misery. Because when you're going out and you're killing people like that, you have no place on this earth, in my opinion. Just a despicable human being. So anyway, hey, Ram U podcast, welcome to the show. Now, guys, WSB, welcome. I had a little experiment yesterday. I think you guys are going to like this. And I kind of had fun with this. Now, 3 or 4 days a week, my son Ethan goes to lift weights at a gym in Worcester, Massachusetts, that deals with athletes, baseball players, things like that. So it's kind of in a rough area. So I like to walk. So I drive like 10 minutes and I go over to this big outdoor plaza where there's like a Target, a Dick's Sports, places like that. And it's a big city. There's a lot of homeless people in this area. I've talked about this area before where I see a lot of people with mental illness and that type of thing. But now the city of Worcester, Massachusetts, the second biggest city in Massachusetts next to Boston, just implemented an indoor mask policy as of yesterday. As I've said, I am not doing that again. I am not going down this road again. I will not put a mask on without a couple of circumstances. If I'm on an airplane, I'll wear a mask. If I'm in a hospital, I will wear a mask. If I have to do something because of my children, like go into their school, I will wear a mask. Other than that, I'm done. I am not wearing one in a store. I am not wearing one in a department store. I'm not wearing one anywhere else. That's it. So yesterday, I decided to walk. So I drove and parked in the local Target. Now, this plaza is in Worcester, Massachusetts. It's called Lincoln Plaza. And I'm going to out the stores that gave me a hard time. I went into, I think, 8 different stores without a mask on. And I walked in, paraded around the whole store, walked by numerous employees, walked even by management. And I was just doing a test. I had no intention of buying anything in any of these stores, but I wanted to see who was going to come at me. Now, most of the stores didn't look at me, didn't mention it, said nothing about the mask. I had 2 stores that were over the top, all over me when it came to the mask. And I'll tell you how those different things went down and explain it to you. And I told them point blank, when I had the one young Karen who literally started yelling at me in her store to get out because I didn't have a mask on, I stopped and told about my constitutional rights. It's a free country. Her and I went back and forth, but I'll get into that in a second. And I'm going to out her store and let everybody know who listens to my show from Massachusetts, which stores in Lincoln Plaza in Worcester, Massachusetts are over the top with these mask mandates. Oh, I'm going to name and shame, baby. It's coming. It's coming. It is coming. So anyway, I started my parade by going into Target in Lincoln Plaza in Worcester, Massachusetts. Okay. I walked in, went through the store, walked by several employees. There were probably 40 to 50% of the customers in this different store that had no masks on. And I had no problems in the Target. So Target, 100%, if you're from Worcester and you don't want to deal with the Nazi mask requirements, Target Worcester wasn't enforcing. They had nobody in there with masks on. The employees, half of them had them down. No big deal. Then I went next door to Lowe's Home Improvement. Walked through that store. Same thing. I walked through the entire store. No one came up to me and gave me a hard time about mask mandates. And then no problem. So then I went over to Dick's Sports in Worcester, Massachusetts. In Dick's Sports, same thing. I walked around the store. A few people asked me if I needed help. No one mentioned anything about me wearing a mask. So then I decided to go into Michael's Arts and Crafts, which is located right next to Dick's Sports in Lincoln Plaza in Worcester, Massachusetts. I had a feeling that this store was going to give it to me, Michael's, whatever. And I probably didn't look like a Michael's customer. But anyway, I walk in the front door, okay? And literally there's a woman right there. I walk in with no mask, new mask mandate in effect. I walk in, she looks at me and she goes, "Sir, can I give you a mask?" And I looked at her and I said, "No, thanks, I'm cutting back." She apparently didn't like that response. So she looked at me and she goes, Sir, I am telling you that you cannot come into the store not wearing a mask." I looked at her and said, "I am fully vaccinated. Why can't I come into the store not wearing a mask?" And she said, "There is a statewide mandate. There is a city mandate. You cannot come in here and you cannot shop." And I looked at her and said, "Ma'am, I've got to be clear with you. This is a free country. You are infringing on my constitutional rights. I am allowed to come into the store and I am allowed to shop without a mask because this country still represents freedom. I'm fully vaccinated and I refuse to wear a mask." At that point, she says, "Sir, you need to leave this store right now." And I said, "No, I'm not going to leave the store right now." So I did a big loop around the store. And then another woman came over to me and said, "Sir, you need to wear a mask." I said, "No, I don't wear a mask. You are infringing on my rights. It is up to me to decide whether or not I wear a mask. You do not tell me how I need to protect myself." And at that point, the girl looked at me and said, "Listen, I'm just doing my job." And I said, "I know you're doing your job, and this is not directed directly at you. But all of you need to realize that our government is taking away our freedoms on a daily basis, and you are going to have more and more people coming into the store and refusing to wear a mask. And I said, to take it a step further, I do a podcast called The Jon DiVito Show. I will be talking about your store on my podcast today. Michael's, hopefully someone from your store hears this. I was the guy that came into your store. You were rude to me. You were condescending to me. And I will never spend a dime in your store again based on the way that you treated me. You treated me like a dog. You treated me like a piece of garbage. And you know what? You little sheep. I wish I had a sheep noise. Bah! All of you. It's up to us in this country. We have freedom of choice. It's in the Constitution. We have freedom of speech. We have things that cannot be infringed on by our government. And I know that you think you are protecting us from ourselves, but I am sorry. I've been vaccinated and I refuse to comply. I refuse to comply. And Michael's Arts and Crafts in Lincoln Plaza in Worcester, Massachusetts, screw you. I will never spend another dollar. And for anyone that hears my voice in the Massachusetts area, I ask you to stop going into stores that are demanding masks. There are others out there that are being forced to do it, and they have the signs up, but they're not really enforcing it. For the stores where you have Karens and jerks in there, basically treating people like this, tell them to go to hell and don't spend a dime there. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate that. Now, so I went to Target, no problem. I went to Lowe's, no problem. I went to Dick's Sports, no problem. Michael's Arts and Crafts, they screwed me, and I will not go back in that store again. Hey, Lady Me, welcome to the show. Welcome to everybody coming in. I'm ranting, bear with me. So I left Michael's Arts and Crafts and went over to, there was a Stop and Shop. I don't know if you guys have those everywhere, but that's a supermarket we have up here in New England. Went in there, walked around the aisles with no mask, no problem. Okay. So then I'm starting to run out of big stores. So I walked all the way across the street, across this busy street, up to this Discount Bob's Furniture. Now, Discount Bob's Furniture, you probably don't have those everywhere. We have a lot of them in the Northeast. It's kind of like a discount furniture store, big store. I walked in there, had 3 people ask me, without my mask on, if they'd service me, if I needed service, if I needed help. There were several other people in that store not wearing masks. Not one employee mentioned it to me. You had some people wearing masks, other ones not wearing masks. In America, it's a free country. If you want to wear a mask, wear it. If it makes you feel safer, wear it. If you think it protects you from getting the coronavirus or getting a flu, then you should wear a mask. For me, I'm not wearing the damn thing. I'm done. I'm done being controlled by our government telling me how I have to live my life. I refuse to live in fear. So I left Bob's and then I went to The Gap. Okay, now let's be honest. I didn't even know The Gap was still open. I mean, who the hell goes to The Gap anymore? Who buys skinny jeans? I mean, is there anybody in here that goes to The Gap? I thought The Gap literally went out of business like 10 years ago. Didn't even know this business was open. So I happened to see The Gap and I'm like, holy shit, The Gap. Those are still a thing? So I walk into The Gap, smaller store. Immediately, this guy at the desk looks over at me and goes, "Sir, do you have a mask?" And I said, "No, sir, I do not." And he said, "Well, you're going to have to wear a mask to come in here." And I said, "Well, no, I'm already in the store and I don't have a mask, so I really don't have to wear one coming in here." At that point, he said, "Sir, you're going to have to leave if you don't wear your mask." I'm like, "Well, sir, I'm not going to leave. I came in to buy jeans," which is, of course, not true, but I'm not going to leave. So then he got on his little radio, and this guy who was like 3 feet wide and like 3 feet tall comes storming up to the front. He was like the little, I guess, security guard or the Gestapo or the bouncer or whatever he was. So again, as I've said to all of you, I'm a person of large proportions. I'm 6'4", 275 pounds. And I come walking around the corner and they're both standing there glaring at me as I'm looking at jeans. So I literally walk right up to the both of them. I'm like, "Hi, gentlemen, do you guys have something you need to say to me?" And the little short guy just kind of sneers at me and he says, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't have a mask. I'm not going to put a mask on." And I saw you just radio him up with your little radio. And the guy's like, "Well, I didn't use my radio." I'm like, "Okay, now you're going to lie about it. Obviously, you have a problem. I'm not wearing a mask." And then that's when he looked at me and gave me a little bit more attitude, saying, "Well, there is a mandate and you need to wear a mask to protect other people." And I said, No. I got vaccinated. Not everyone agrees with being vaccinated, and that is everybody's choice. You do not have to get vaccinated. There should not be a mandate on that. But damn it, don't tell me I have to wear a mask. So I went into like 7 or 8 stores. As I said, Lowe's at Lincoln Plaza in Worcester, Massachusetts, no problem. Target, no problem. Dick's Sports, no problem. Stop and Shop, no problem. Michael's Arts and Crafts, Lincoln Plaza, Worcester, Massachusetts. There were two absolute complete assholes basically at the front door that tried to strong arm me into the mask. And I told them exactly what I thought about them. And I don't think they appreciated that. But you know how I am. I mean, the bottom line is I just don't give a fuck. So moving on from that, I went into Discount Bob Sports, a store, a furniture store, no problem there. And then I went into the Gap, a company where I didn't even know still existed. I thought that they went out in the 1980s with acid wash jeans, but I went in there and had a couple of guys basically strong arm me there also. That's going to be my new thing. I mean, I'm walking into stores and, we have to buy a lot of things. If you're going to give me a hard time, I'm going to give you a hard time right back. And I'm not going to get into a fight. I'm not going to be a complete dick, just maybe a half dick, but I'm going to go after you. And I think that in America, we need to start standing up. Mr. Ray, welcome to the show. Wolf T. Price, welcome to the show. Welcome to everybody coming in. I really appreciate it. And, but again, for all of you out there, I think we need to start pushing back. We need to start having conviction. And as the government continues to take our rights away, we need to stand up for ourselves. If we don't, this is never going to change. We are 336 million people strong, being controlled by 400 people. Now, did you guys all see the television Emmys by any chance? And I'm going to go to Eric in a second. This is going to be a short rant today. But the television Emmys, right? The television Emmys, the beautiful people, right? The talented people, the people that tell us how to live our lives, right? They tell us our carbon footprints are too big. You can't use a plastic straw. You have to use paper straws. And it's just crazy. But you look at the Emmys, they were in this small little room. Not one of them were wearing masks. None of them were social distancing. But the response was, well, we're all vaccinated. Well, you know what? A lot of Americans are vaccinated too, and you're telling us that means nothing. So you get a group of these special people in this Emmy friggin' stupid award show that should be off television, and they're telling us how to live our lives when these hypocrites are doing whatever the hell they want to do without any caution for social distancing and mask mandates. I call bullshit. I call absolute bullshit, right? Now, this makes me think of one more thing. Now, let me revisit this. And Eric, are you in? I saw you called in, but I don't see you on my panel. Are you here?
I was muted until you're ready for me to talk.
I'm going to go to you. One thing I was thinking about last night, I was explaining this to my son. We were talking about climate change. We were talking about, all these different things. And I was explaining to my son that I'm old enough to remember. Now, hey, rounding third, good to see you, my other main brother. XX, welcome to the show. So when I was a kid in elementary school and middle school, the biggest fear that we had, there were a couple. Number one was nuclear war with the Soviet Union. I'm that old. And the other one was science teachers telling us that we were going to be expecting the next ice age. The world was cooling. We were moving towards the next ice age. The glaciers were going to be getting larger, and we were literally going to be living in an ice age at some point in the not too distant future. Okay. So I remember that. Then I remember that in order to save the planet, right, we were cutting down too many trees, which I get. I'm not for cutting down trees. I like trees. I live in the woods, but we were cutting down too many trees. And in order to save the planet, grocery stores stopped using paper bags that everybody got for free back in the day and ended up giving out plastic bags. Okay. Then in school, we stopped learning about the next ice age and we learned about acid rain. Who remembers acid rain? Anybody old enough to remember that in here? Acid rain was because of all the pollution in the sky. The fumes were going up and we were literally going to get rained on by acid. So that was another thing that we were afraid of, acid rain, okay? So that was the next scare technique. Caps, welcome to the show. So we went from the next ice age to, saving the planet by getting rid of paper bags and going to plastic bags. Then we were told about acid rain. Then it moved to the giant hole in the ozone layer. Who remembers that? Now, for me, I've always said, if we have a problem with excess fumes in the environment, and that's causing global warming, shouldn't all those fumes escape through that hole in the ozone layer and go out to space? I mean, that was kind of always my feeling. But we went from, basically acid rain to the hole in the ozone layer. That was going to be the end of the world. That's why, we had this problem with our world, and that needed to be taken care of. You need to cut fluorocarbons. You needed to cut automobile exhaust, etc. Then we moved to global warming. That was the big Al Gore thing. I loved watching Al Gore on an inconvenient truth, lecturing us about our carbon footprints when he lived in his 10,000-foot square mansion and he was flying around literally being interviewed in that movie in his private jet. Thanks, Al. Thanks for living the way you want us to live, brother. I was impressed by that. You have the honesty and integrity of Bill Clinton. I don't know if you did a 2-for-1 with Monica Lewinsky, who was alone, but you also were full of shit. Then we come to the realization, okay, we've got global warming and we are polluting the oceans with plastic. So then, to save the planet, at one point we went from paper to plastic. Now we're going from plastic back to paper to save the world yet again. And then we found out that we couldn't call global warming anymore. We need to call it climate change, because with climate change, if it gets warmer, if it gets colder, if anything happens, it's attributed to what man is doing to the earth. Correct? Jess Doc, welcome to the show. Good to see you. So anyway, that's the bullshit we live with. It's just one thing after another where it's constant for the last 50 years trying to keep people afraid. Shadow, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in. So anyway, I'm ranting, I'm raving, but I'm just so tired of the bullshit that's thrown at us all the time. And rounding third, you're right. I mean, in general, it's coming from the Democrats. It's coming from one side of the party. So Eric Kirk, listen, I want to go to you. I've got you up here, and I just saw, I don't know if Ralph made a comment about Milt. Is Milt okay? Because I saw it.
The last I checked, like on Milt,
Milt,
of course,
I did it again. Hold on, Eric. Boomer move. Didn't hit the right button. Go ahead.
I looked at Milt Dog's Instagram. The last I checked, he was in the hospital, but hopefully he ain't sick with something too serious, and hopefully, he's well enough to come home soon, unless somebody else has an update, on his condition.
I just saw someone post that he had passed away. I mean, I hope that's not the case. Milt's a great guy.
That I haven't heard anything about that. Okay. But I guess if somebody credible has information they can pass along, we would only welcome hearing it from a very credible and reliable source.
Oh yeah, I mean Milt Dog. I mean, I don't go into his show all the time. I'm just busy and I can't get into a lot of shows. But Milt Dog, if you remember, Eric, he used to come into our show when I first started, and he was funny. He would call in, and I used to think that all the time, that he should have his own show. And he gets on. He's a great guy. He's been through a lot. He's been through a lot with his wife. He's been through a lot with his family situation. He's been been through a lot with his health. And Milt Dog is just a salt of the earth guy, a great guy. He's funny as hell. And I respect the hell out of Milt Dog. So when I saw his post on Instagram the other day, I did send him a little message to say, hey, buddy, I'm praying for you. I hope you're going to be okay. But I do know that his situation with his health is serious. So it'd be, I don't know if there's anything we could do for him, but it would be nice maybe as a podcasting community if we could do something for Milt Dog to maybe help him out. I mean, I don't know how we could do it. He lives, overseas, obviously, from a lot of us.
Well, he lives in Sweden.
Right. So, but man, for me, my prayers are going out hard for Milt Dog, and he's a great guy. I love him to death. And I know that everybody here has been in his shows. I mean, who hasn't been in a Milt Dog show at one time or another, right? So he's a great guy. Now, if you could also, I wasn't in the old man show. I was on a work call before I came on here. So what's up with Dina Joe? You told me that her father-in-law passed away?
Well, her and Lewis are technically not married, but they've been partners for about 16, 17 years. His mother, passed away very suddenly late last night. I don't know any of the details about how she died, but I know she's probably going to be away from the Old Man's podcast for a couple of days, and Mike has had to temporarily suspend the Boundaries series until she's ready to come back.
Right. Oh boy. I mean, it's hard, as I was saying earlier, I had the summer from hell where, we lost my father-in-law, he passed away, and then his brother passed away literally a month later. And then another one of his brothers had a stroke, is in a nursing home now. So when you start losing loved ones, there's nothing worse. And Eric, you remember from my poor wife, even before her father passed away, you remember back in the spring, Nana Dolly passed away also, her grandmother. So
a year prior, yes.
Yeah. So she's lost so many people, this past year. And it's hard when you lose loved ones. It does make you realize though, how fragile life is, and you got to go out and live your life and enjoy your life when you have the opportunity. And I'm kind of in that phase now where I'm like, I'm working, doing my job, but I'm like, I don't want to kill myself at this point. And that's why I think I told all of you, I'm on a new health kick now. I think I told you that, right? I went into the doctor and had horrible blood pressure a couple of weeks ago. I've already lost 23 pounds. I'm down 23 pounds from my high, and my blood pressure is much lower, back down in the normal range. My goal is to lose at least 50 pounds so I can at least get back and be somewhat healthy and not be such a fat pant load like I am right now. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you. I appreciate all the well wishes. But so, Eric, what are you seeing in the news, man? I mean, this Gabby Petito story is killing me. I see this young woman that was murdered by this Brian Laundrie. It breaks my heart. And the coward is just hiding. And I mean, everything's pointing at him. I know that you can't make judgments, but I mean, this guy took off. He was abusive. And if my girlfriend or fiance was missing, I'd be looking for him. I mean, what are your feelings on that whole situation? Thanks, Caps.
Well, I know that has been dominating the news, and we know how the news networks are gonna spin it that it's this and that it's that, and not focus on just reporting the story as is, and not adding any like personal opinion or anything inflammatory to it.
I think, we were looking at the comments already, that jackass from CNN, Don Lemon, and then the other woman there coming out and saying,
MSLSD news lady, Joy Reid.
All right. They're trying to turn it racist now. I mean, again, stop dividing us. The media, stop trying to make white people and black people fight. Stop it. Stop it. We don't have to be enemies. Yes, there was slavery in this country a long time ago. It was a horrible thing. I think everyone here knows it was a horrible thing. But stop trying to friggin' divide us. We need to be a unified people. And I don't care if it's a white woman, a black woman, a Hispanic woman, anything. If there's a woman that was murdered or a man that was murdered, damn it, it's a tragedy. It shouldn't matter what color they are. And these things in the media just fire me up, and I'm just so tired of it. A good example yesterday, Eric, was I was walking after I went into all these businesses and, again, called out Michael's in Lincoln Plaza, Worcester, for being mask Nazis, and the Gap, which I thought was closed, for being mask Nazis. After I did that walk yesterday, I'm walking along, and remember I've talked about the boxing gym my son's gone to many, many times. Great gym, mostly African-American men, Hispanic men, inner-city people. One of the big guys that works out there, he's a cousin of the owner. Big dude, man. His name's Rashid. He must be, 6'5", 300 pounds. He was a boxer and just a big, tough guy. He's African-American. I hear, hey, big guy. I turn to look, it's him. He comes over. We're handshaking. We're hugging. We're fist bumping. He's telling me all about his kids, that his two daughters apparently are very good basketball players, and they're both getting Division I scholarship offers right now. So, for him and I, he got this big white guy from suburbia and this African-American guy from the inner city. We're hugging, high-fiving, good to see each other. I'm calling him brother. He's calling me brother. And I mean, why the hell can't the world be this way? Why do we have to have these media people who are looking to destroy us? I'm just so friggin' tired of it, man, So anyway, hats off to Rashid. It was good to see you. And I'll tell you one thing, man, if he was a boxer, I would not want to fight this guy. He's a big dude, man. So I'm glad he's my friend, because he's a tough bastard. But anyway, Eric, I know you feel the same way I do. I mean, the media is just out to destroy all of us. I mean, you see it too. And I think the media is our biggest problem in this country right now. They're ripping people apart,
Right. And then, because, like the media climate as is, we have strayed away from back in a time when news was the news, and you didn't have like the so-called, news presenters, having their political biases on such display, because there was a time they used to manage to be neutral, to report a story objectively and let people decide on their own.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen anymore.
And I think podcasts seem to be replacing that.
I think you're right. I think that's why people like podcasts, because you get people coming on. And, for the people that are new in here, I get a bunch of people that are new. If you're new here, please follow me. Please share my live. Please come back. But I mean, keep in mind, a lot of you, probably don't agree with me. That's okay. I don't mind that. If you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. If you want to call in and you think I'm an asshole, tell me I'm an asshole, except for Jeremy Cummings. You keep it to yourself, because you're
or Glenn.
Or Glenn. Yeah, Glenn, I don't know where he is, and the rest of these yahoos in here too.
I guess he's probably busy.
And look at Spanky and Beans calling me an asshole. I give him nothing but compliments, and he's giving me shit. That's all right, though. Spanky, you're of my demographic, man. You're an old fat fuck like I am, so I'm down with you, brother. It's okay. I give you a pass. Wolf, too, another good one. But anyway.
Well, and what makes the podcast here on Podbean Live so special is you're going to get unfiltered conversation, regardless of what side of the political spectrum you're on. Because if you look at media, you see how ultra filtered they are.
They are. And, I see Rounding Third saying I'm a masshole. Dude, don't forget, I grew up in New Hampshire, all right? I'm not really a masshole. I was forced to live here. I'm still kicking and screaming living in this state. I fucking hate living in Massachusetts. This is the most communist state I have ever lived in my life. I mean, just the difference of living in New Hampshire.
Aside from California and New York State.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, New Hampshire literally is like little Texas. New Hampshire, live free or die state motto. I mean, it's a free state. It doesn't belong in New England. New Hampshire should be in the South, honestly. It doesn't belong where it is. But that's where I grew up. And you come here, man, it's just such government control in every aspect of your life. It's just horrible. I don't know. So, hey, Talking Hard, good to see you in there. I'd love to move to Arizona. And you get good weather there, too, as opposed to the shit cold weather we have coming here. So, all that stuff going on. But listen, man, I appreciate everybody coming in. Please follow my show. Please share my live. And if anybody else wants to call in, the phone lines are open. I'm ready to chat a little bit. I did my rant. My blood pressure is probably up into a high level where it shouldn't be again.
Yeah.
But Eric, tell us what's going on in your life in the meantime. Now, I know that you had, I think it was your niece you were watching. Was it last weekend or last week? How did that go?
I of course, kept the niece I think it was last Monday or Tuesday for a couple hours so my brother could go to a job interview. And then I got invited to my other niece, Morgan's, birthday get together on Sunday, but today is her actual birthday.
Oh, it is.
Okay, and then
nice.
My nephew Luke had a birthday, just last week. Morgan is 14, Luke is 12. Marley turned 7 back in August, and Mila will be a year old in November.
I have a question now. You're an uncle. So what do you guys out there think? Now, is Eric the, mature, responsible uncle, or is, Eric kind of like that crazy uncle? What do you guys think? I mean, I don't know. I think mature, but you could be the crazy uncle too. I'm not sure. What do you think you are, Eric? You
if I was crazy, I don't do it around them.
Right. Uh-oh. Yeah. Thinking you feed them candy. Well, see, we have that in our family. We have, one of Cheryl's brothers.
Yeah. I think we were all guilty of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do that. One of Cheryl's brothers, Uncle Walter, great guy, very smart guy. I mean, the guy, never went to college. Well, he did go to college. It just didn't work out. He drank himself out of college. But he went to college, didn't work out. And then, it took him a little while to find his groove. But this freaking guy, man, Walter, he can fix a car. He can fix a computer. He can build a computer. He could rebuild a car. He takes apart motorcycles. I mean, this guy has his own motorcycle part business where he buys motorcycles, parts them out, and sells them on eBay. Then he started kind of like Storage Wars. He goes out with his girlfriend. They buy storage lockers. He's got a huge, successful store now selling all kinds of things in his store. We actually bought 2 couches from him recently. Then his girlfriend also has like this entertainment business where they go out to bars and they do karaoke and trivia and Jeopardy and all these different types of things. The two of them work their asses off. And he is just like a super cool guy. He's the uncle that rode motorcycles. He's the uncle that used to drag race his motorcycle, pops wheelies in it. He's the uncle that has a boat and takes the kids fishing out in the ocean. So he's the cool uncle that kind of makes me look bad because I'm the uncool dad. You know how that goes. Oh, man. Hey, Antoine, welcome to the show. Good to see you. So, Eric, what are you hearing in the Slightly Serious show? I haven't been in a little bit. I know they were in Vegas together. How are things going for Slightly and his significant other?
Well, I know that they spent the week, of Labor Day in Vegas, but he's been back since last Monday. But tonight, of course, he's taking hiatus because he's got like a charity meeting to attend to. But he should be back on tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. But speaking of tomorrow night, the Slightly Serious show has secured a very special guest.
Oh, who's that?
It is a former television weather forecaster from Michigan by the name of Carl Bonnick, who was recently let go from his job at the NBC affiliate in the Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and he's going to come on to share his story and have a discussion with us about the pandemic and other current events and whatnot.
I had to make a comment. Lady Me just gave me the clap. I haven't gotten the clap from a girl in over 20 years. I do appreciate that. Now, when I say 20 years, guys, I shouldn't not mention this, but this Wednesday, tomorrow, is my 20th anniversary. Hey, now listen, maybe if I've got some ladies in here, maybe you can help me. What should I be doing for the anniversary? What do you think? Dinner, flowers, a night away? what should I do for my wife for the 20th? I could really use some input down in the message because tomorrow's the day and I've done nothing yet. So I need to come up with something for the big 20. So someone help me. If you have any good ideas, pop them in the chat down there.
Well, I would think you would definitely want to deliver her some flowers, but I don't know if you would deliver them to her at work or wait till she gets home.
That's one of the things I was thinking about doing tomorrow. She actually works in a doctor's office, and I might, as opposed to sending them in, it's only about 20 minutes away, from my house. I might actually just drive in and hand deliver them in to her in person. I think that might be a little bit nicer than having them just sent in. I'll surprise her, embarrass her a little bit in front of her work friends. I know that we are going to go out to dinner. But flowers will be good. Dinner, I think, will be good. But I'd like to do something more. I mean, I really feel very, very lucky that I'm with the woman I do. I know I joke a lot, but she's an amazing woman. I'm still in love. I hope she's still in love. I know some days she'd rather take a hatchet to me, but I think that some days she's still in love with me. And I'd like to do something special. A helicopter ride, that'd be kind of fun. Of course, I'm kind of afraid of helicopters. I don't know. But it's funny you mentioned that. And Antoine, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about reliving our first date. The only problem is the place where our first date is now closed. That's how long we've been together. We met in Boston, right near the Boston Garden, which is now called whatever it is, TD Garden. And there was a sports place there that we met at. And I was going to take her there, but it's gone now. But I think that they put something else in its place. That might not be a bad idea. I like that. That could be something. Maybe, go and do that. Oh, a strip club, taps. Now you're talking, my brother. Maybe finally after 20 years, I can kind of talk her into maybe that little bit of extra action that I've been kind of hoping for, find a beautiful woman, include my wife, kind of get that whole thing going. I like the way you're thinking, my brother. I like it. What do you think, Eric? Oh, by the way, Barra, I forgot you were here. Welcome to the show, brother.
He appears to be muted. I don't see him on the call panel unless...
Yeah, see, I see him on mine. Isn't that weird? Sometimes I see them and you don't.
Podbean glitch.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it must be. So, hey, what's going on with you, brother?
Yeah.
I can, yes, loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Bob.
Yeah. It was just to bring up a point. Yeah, it was just to bring up a point about your rant earlier about the masks. And well done you for standing your ground. But I think something that I'm pretty passionate about is highlighting the businesses that will support people like us that care about freedoms, and not only with the masks but also the vaccine, because I'm hearing that in some countries healthcare is only for the vaccinated, and probably not more importantly, but it might get to the point where going grocery shopping and you're going to be denied if you're not vaccinated and you don't have these passports, so highlighting the shops, the supermarkets and places that will allow us to use them is more important than probably slating the ones that won't, because a lot of people, for instance, imagine if you're an old elderly person or you can't drive and your local supermarket won't allow you to go in because you're not vaccinated. For a lot of people that's scary stuff. So highlighting the shops that will support us is more, I think that's something that we should all be doing.
No, point taken. You're right. And that, one of the things I did mention, and if I didn't do it well enough, I did mention a number of the stores that were very welcoming and did allow me in. So really, in the plaza I was going into, I had no problem in the Target. I had no problem in the Lowe's home improvement store. I had no problem in Dick's Sports. I had no problem in Stop and Shop. Discount Bob's Furniture, I had no problem. Basically, the two that really railed me, and the Gap wasn't quite as bad. The Gap was a little bit, but the woman at Michael's was downright confrontational and she cut me off at the front door. She was rude. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be looking to bash a store like that, because when it comes down to it, in their mind, they're looking to keep people safe. So I do get that. But also, I think our country needs to start learning again that we do have freedoms. I'm vaccinated, and I feel like I've done the right thing by doing that. There are a lot of people in here that have not been vaccinated. And in my opinion, if you haven't been vaccinated and you're not wearing a mask, brother, I'll hug you. I don't care. I believe that I've done what I feel is right, but I think everyone should have the right to make their own decision. But point taken, you're right. I mean, you don't want to completely bash school, companies that do that. But I think for me, it was more about the rude treatment I got inside that Michael's from the person. She got very confrontational. I thought that was, not really needed. I think if she had maybe been a little bit more polite to me, I probably would have backed down a little bit. But once she started challenging me, then I'm the guy that challenges right back generally. So that's kind of how that went down. So, yeah, but I agree with you. It's a good point. How do you feel about masks? Do you feel that the mandate should be in place, or do you think it should be up to every person to choose?
See, I think I was on your show once, and I told your listeners and yourself about here in the UK, we were alerted to these cards, exemption cards. So when I found out that, I actually thought that you had to get one of these issued from your doctor. That's the way I felt until I looked into it and realised that you can actually download these in PDF versions and make them into like you can carry them around in your wallet. So I've had one of those for forever. It feels like I think I only wore a mask for about 2-3 weeks before my work started getting on my case. They were like, they enforced the mask wearing at work, and I'm a welder and I'm working in a dirty fabrication shop. So to me, it was just a no-no. When you look at these masks, and not a lot of people know that unless you're working in a sterile environment, so I imagine a doctor, in surgery, you actually have to swap these masks out every 20 minutes. And I'm working with guys for 8 hours, and they're wearing
I'm losing you a little bit there. You're kind of losing your connection.
You're going in the matrix, Baremu.
All right, Barbara, we're going to have to mute you because we're losing you a little bit. I'm sorry. So we're just going to mute you real quick, and then we'll get back to you. Oh, yeah, he's still going.
By dinner time, they're
All right, I'm not having much luck when you hit the button. Come on, Podbean, do your work. Let's see here.
He sounds like he's driving.
Yeah, he must be. We're losing. I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah.
So, hey, Barab, we're losing you really bad. We're going to have to cut you, okay, bud? We can't hear you. So if you could, just mute yourself. Thank you. It looks like he muted himself. So anyway, I see some of the comments in there. Cap saying if you're an ugly motherfucker, basically you should be blocking your face. Now, I take offense to that. Now, the problem with me is I have like a size 12 head. I don't know how big my head is, but I have literally got the head of all heads. And it is a gigantic head, to the point when I played football in college, I had to get a special ordered helmet for my head, which was pretty embarrassing. But first of all, I have to find a mask that fits over me so it doesn't look like a little peanut cover over my face. But no, I think you're right, though. I mean, I think, honestly, this could be something. And, believe it or not, the younger kids have a term for this. They're talking about how they're walking around. Like, I know I've got boys, and they're talking around, they see a hot-looking girl with the mask on, and then when she pulls the mask off, it's kind of like a disappointment if she's not good-looking. I know that's terrible, but some of the young guys have been talking about that. So I do think that there is some truth to this. Remember back in the day, I'm older, there used to be, and I think boys and girls would both say this, if someone had like a good-looking body, you could maybe have sex with them, but you have to put like a paper bag over their head. So I think that was something that happened. But now it's simple. Everyone wears a mask, and, if they're ugly, just leave the mask on. Don't take it off. That's all you need to do, right? So, hey, Eric, I want to ask you one more thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I know you might have people who have like facial imperfections, but you also have to remember that there are going to be people out there who, aren't going to be able to afford any kind of plastic surgery or reconstructive surgery to correct that. You're going to wind up seeing people like that, or people who look like they've just not aged well because of health issues that we don't know about.
Well, you know what I'm going to do, Eric? I've decided that I am going to continue to lose weight. I need to lose like 100 pounds. And then when I do that, I'm going to get plastic surgery so I look just like Joe Biden. And what's going to happen is when Joe Biden dies or ends up finally getting put in the nursing home, I'm going to put myself forward as his replacement. So I'm going to be his body double. And I'll actually, all of a sudden, we're going to have finally a competent Joe Biden. I will be like the Donald Trump version of Joe Biden. So I'm going to step right into office. I'm going to get up, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, did Joe Biden just say this? I mean, he actually starting to make sense a little bit. So I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to come on and replace him. So I'm going to get plastic surgery. And of course, I don't want to look like Joe Biden because that's, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but I think I'm going to go for it. And I think that maybe is something I can maybe do going forward. But Eric, I wanted to ask you something real quick. Now, I know you saw this. How about AOC, our friend AOC, who is representing the poor and wearing that dress at that big gala that said tax the rich on it. But the gala was a $35,000 a plate gala. So let me ask, anybody in here spent $35,000 for a dinner? I'm just wondering. I'm going to say right now, I'm going to go and say probably not. I never have. $35,000 is a lot of money. But Eric, I mean, what did you think
if
about
a meal costs $35,000, to me that's highway robbery, because a meal shouldn't cost that much unless she's eating probably the most expensive cut cut of steak and talking about putting catalytic converters on cows' behinds to regulate cows' farts.
I like that one. Where's my laughter button?
Part of her Green New Deal. But that's okay. You know what? The best way we can describe AOC, she's full of hot air.
Now, how about this? Guys, this is what I would do. She is full of hot air. Now, for me, I would spend $35,000. Not that I have the $35,000, but if I did, I would have my dinner. And you can give me a salad. I'll take a salad for the dinner because I'm on a diet. But what I require for the $35,000 is Scarlett Johansson sitting on my lap, okay? Jessica Chastain sitting to my right, and then maybe someone like Megan Fox sitting to my left. So if I could get the three of them together and we could have some coffee after dinner, then the $35,000 might be worth it. But if you're serving me a plate of food for $35,000, and when someone comes out and says, we're representing the underprivileged, how about take the $35,000 and donate it to people that don't have food? Do something.
Donate it to charity.
Right? Oh my
God.
goodness.
And the dress that AOC wore, that is tacky as shit because, where's Joan Rivers when we need her? Because I think Joan Rivers would probably be asking her, who are you wearing?
She was great. I loved her. Joan Rivers was so damn funny.
Because I think Joan Rivers would trash whoever designed that dress and put them out of business.
Tunnels.
Or ban them from the fashion industry altogether.
Tunnels, I would agree with that comment. 100%. I'm not going to repeat it, but I agree with it. So Bahram, let's see. She's turning that dress into a slogan, into a clothing range, but she hates capitalism. She does. And, like we've talked about, not to get too political, I don't want to do that today. Little mentions here and there. Are there flaws in capitalism? Of course there are. I mean, does Jeff Bezos need $250 billion? Not really. And, should people who are working get paid more? Yes, they should. But still, capitalism is one of the things that's made this country great. That's what made us a superpower. And you do have to have balance in your economy. I mean, all these crackpots and politicians get a big squeegee and just push them all into the ocean. Get rid of all of them. All of them. All the Democrats, all the Republicans, all the independents, kick their asses out and get in a group of new people that really care about the country, pay them $50,000 a year each, no lifetime health care, put them on Medicare, no lifetime pensions, give them Social Security, and have them turn over every 4 to 8 years, but have people in that really care. Have people in that care about the betterment of the country, not caring about their own pockets and controlling the rest of us. To me, it just baffles me. 336 million people, and we let 400 people control us. We let 400 people control everything we do in this life. And, until we start saying no, until we start uniting as one, we can't be a separate America. We can't be, the Hispanics in this pocket, the African Americans here, the whites over here. We need to be together. We need to be uniform. We need to work together. And once we do that, and once we finally get together, then I think it's that point we're going to be a great country again. But right now, this country's in the dumper, and I think a lot of the world is in the dumper as well. Mr. Romo, welcome to the show. Good to see you. So I don't know about the rest of the world. I mean, Caps, you're in the UK. I'm seeing what's going on in Australia with all the lockdowns. I mean, people can't leave their houses. And it's just crazy what's going on in this world right now. It's probably part of that great reset that we all talked about. But I don't know, man. It's crazy shit going on in this country right now. Eric, I mean, have you ever seen this in your life? I've never seen it in my life.
And with the political situation as is, I know we're in agreement that we need term limits, but with the way Congress is, that they're not going to agree to vote themselves out of a job. But would it take like some sort of like constitutional convention of states to come together to make that reality? But if that be the case, we need to make sure we have the right people in place for that.
I'll tell you, that would have been a good thing. I mean, again, that's something, if you ever were to get Trump back in the office or DeSantis or somebody like that, if you have someone that truly cares and isn't just giving us a line of bullshit, but if you have one of them that truly cares and they come in and say, you know what, I'm signing an executive order. From now on, If you're in Congress, you get 2 4-year terms, just like the president, and then you're out. You're done. You can't have people like McConnell and Pelosi and all these lifelong politicians in office that are just basically dogging all of us. And that's what they're doing. And
and lining their pockets, like they're doing.
George Carlin. Remember George Carlin would talk about there's us and there's them. And there's the rich and the poor. And everybody in this room, let me tell you right now, you're not in their group. You're in your group. You're not with them. It's so true, where, all of us are just living under their thumbs. And a lot of people are just willing to take it, though, unfortunately. L. Loving, welcome to the show. Nice to see you there. And for everybody that's here, please share my live. And if you're new, please follow me. I would love to have you come back again. We're just talking about a bunch of different things today. We started talking about Gabby Petito, how she is unfortunately dead, and her coward of a fiance is hiding after there was proof he was hitting her. There was proof that he was extremely jealous. He was cutting her off from her friends. He was the typical abusive man. And then when that poor, beautiful young woman went out and disappeared, he left. He left her there and went home. Obviously, this guy's in hiding. And you're right. His parents are saying he's in this reserve or this preserve in Florida. He's probably off hanging out in Mexico over the border now, away from the United States, and they're never going to find the guy, unfortunately. But then we talked about some people in the mainstream media who are making comments about her, saying this is the typical white privilege, her getting all this attention. Don Lemon's coming out and saying that Brian Laundrie had white privilege. I mean, I'm not sure how he had white privilege. He's on the run. He murdered somebody, and they're going to put him in jail for the rest of his life. Personally, I would have loved to have seen, or I would love to see the police get him and put a knee on his neck instead of what they did to George Floyd and end this bastard's life. That's one thing I would like to see. Unfortunately, it probably won't happen, but throw the bastard in jail, put him away for life, give him the death penalty. He's a murderer. And for me, I don't care whether you're white, black, green. If you've been murdered, you've been murdered. And my daughter this morning showed me a story about a young African-American man who is missing. And unfortunately, I would mention it now, but I don't have the story in front of me. I'm going to research this tonight. And there's a 22-year-old man who is missing. He was in like a dispensary, and then they found his car a short time after with his clothes in the back seat. He's been missing for a couple of weeks now. He's African-American. I'm going to do a story on him, if not tomorrow, later in the week, once I finally learn more about this story. But my daughter showed it to me on TikTok, and people are looking to blow it up. So I'm going to talk about that again. But, you're right. I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe I'm some stupid-ass suburban white guy that doesn't get it. But you're right. The news hasn't been out there. My daughter had to show me on TikTok, but it's certainly not all over the news like this story is. So, maybe I'm wrong and I just don't get it. I mean, again, maybe that's the white privilege they talk about. I live in suburbia. The white girl gets the coverage. The black young man doesn't. I mean, maybe it's true, and maybe I just have blinders on. And if that's the case, I need to wake the hell up and realize that's the case, But I am going to do a story on this African-American young man who is missing. His family wants to know where he is. It looks like he was abducted. And when you look at him, he's a big guy. He looks like a big, strong guy. So I'm not sure what happened to him. And it could be because he's a man, too. I think a lot of times the media gravitates towards women who are missing more than men. But look for that show sometime this week. I'm going to study it, find out more about it, and talk about it more intelligently when I have the information. There goes my phone. Let me shut this down. All right, phone shut down. So, Eric, listen, I'm going to have to wrap this bad boy up. We're going to when I get back to work. So, do you want to highlight some of the other shows coming up today, my brother?
Absolutely.
Let me give you Jeopardy music. I like the Jeopardy music. All right, go ahead. I know it drives you crazy,
but coming up on Podbean Live, the Lunch with Spanky show, the half of the Beans and Weenie show, he's on right now with his impromptu lunchtime show. If you're interested in
great show.
Jumping over to show your support. And then, Mike Tampa Bay will be doing like a special mental health show today at 5 p.m. Eastern time, as the Boundary series with Dina Joe is temporarily suspended as her and Lewis are dealing with the death in the family. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And if Milk Dog surprises us with an impromptu show today, definitely show your support to him, and please keep him and his family in your prayers as well.
Prayers to both Dina Joe and Milk Dog. Hopefully Milk Dog's okay. I am worried.
I hope so too. And of course, the Beans and Weenies show with Spanky and Scooter will be on at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Then, of course, Ralph and the Old Man's podcast is back tomorrow morning as well. And hopefully, John, you might try to do a show either tomorrow or Thursday, depending on your schedule. And Frankie D, he's also on tomorrow afternoon, which I'm sure Tuttles and Elgato would definitely be joining him.
I got to get into his show. It's been a while since I've been in his show. He's really good. He's a young guy.
Well, and
Frankie D's show. Check it out. He's really funny.
Well, and I know like Chuck surprised us last week with a primetime show. So I guess whenever he's back on, or if you get in touch with him later to find out when he's coming back.
Sinister Breed?
But yeah, yes.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Okay.
Because I know you'd like to jump back in and see him, and and I know he enjoys having like Father Brian and Rebecca and Glenn come in to see him, and of course the Slightly Serious Show should be back on tomorrow evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time with special guest Carl Bonnick, and Thursday will be the trivia episode since the Tuesday trivia's show is on hiatus, and also be on the lookout for Trice Talk to return with new episodes. Goose and Bravo 1 and Maverick from the Slacker 82 Alpha podcast, they're on tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then definitely be on the lookout for Jeremy to do impromptu episodes of Cummings' Culture, and also be on the lookout for other names like Freedom Warrior, Lingalonga, and be on the lookout for a host of other great podcast friends that we know and love and enjoy, and Laura and Lou with the communication station, Crazy Train and Lady Me. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shows out there. So I tell you, we're very fortunate to have this Podbean family. I'm so happy I'm back. So I appreciate all you guys that have been coming to my show. Please share the word about my show. Please come back in. I'm going to most likely do shows again tomorrow and Friday. I'm hoping to get back into a regular schedule. So, hey, everybody that's in, thank you so much. I'm going to try to get into as many as your shows as I can as well. I'd like to pop in and listen a little bit, even if I haven't been in before. So I will be looking, and hopefully I can get into some of your shows.
Yes.
And I want to just thank all of you. So, Eric, as always, thank you for coming in and helping me out, and calling in, and
and if Twitter friends are on Twitter, your Twitter handle, of course, John, is at DeVito, the DIVITOTHE. The at Jon DiVito pod is no more, but you're also on Instagram and a couple other platforms where they can stay in touch with you, or they can email you at the Jon DiVito Show at gmail.com.
What's true, as you know, Twitter, again, suspended me along with Facebook and Fuckerberg. So they've both, banned me, and they can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. But now I have a new one. I have a new page. So I found my way around it, but I need some of my followers back. I had like 5,000 followers.
Yeah.
Now I have 100. So if you want
to. Because I know you've also got a great series of shows coming up in October, which we're definitely on the lookout for. And hopefully, we might have some follow-ups with like previous guests, like the Agape and Circle of Hope students who had previously been featured and shared their stories. And hopefully you might, follow up with like the Pamela Smart case, like her mother, Linda, and anybody else to see if there have been any new developments. And basically with Linda to see how she's doing.
Yeah, I was thinking about texting her because I have her cell phone number. I might text her to see how she's doing. I did hear from someone that she has been sick lately. I mean, she's older. She's up near 80. So I'm hoping she's okay, because she's really a sweet woman. And one other thing also, Eric, if any of you are interested in having me interview you, I might start doing some of those again. Reach out to Eric. Yeah. Eric kind of coordinates all my stuff. So if any of you guys want to do an interview, I'll interview you if you'd like to come on with me.
Because I know we would like to try to line up more get to know your podcaster interviews with Spanky and Scooter from the Beans and Weenie podcast.
If you're a listener that's in all the time, like someone like Jess Duck, I'd love to learn more about you. So if there's anybody in here that wants to interview, reach out to Eric.
Mr. T.
Or Mr. T. Yep. Anybody. Tuddles.
Or Mr. A.
Yep.
But and then other podcast friends, I know you would love to do a get to know your podcaster interview with Ralph if he's listening to this. So he definitely knows how to get in touch with you, and hopefully you and him could schedule something.
Ralph's a legend, so obviously Ralph's a legend.
And Sarge from the Gray Area, I know you would enjoy him, and Scarlett Johansson. I know we'd love to get Cracks from Exotics Radio and Roxanne from Odyssey of Ascension, see how they're doing.
Yeah, it'd be good to see how they're doing. So, all right, everybody, hey, listen, and if anyone does know Scarlett Johansson, you can let her know that I'd love to interview her. So feel free to reach out to her and pass it on to me. So that'd be all good. All right, everybody.
And Remu, we don't want to forget about you, but we'll see you later, everybody. Love you and God bless.
Hold on one sec. Just not that guy, Mike from Tampa Bay. I see him in my show all the time, and I don't know. Oh, I think I already interviewed him. Oh, wait, is he in
Yes.
here? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. All right, I'm a bad guy. So, all right, everybody, take care. Have a great day. Love you, and I love you too.
Well, we're heading on out of here.
All right, and where's my music? Oh, I pressed the wrong music. I like this song, though, too. And how about some baby laughs? I love this. It's so damn funny. Oh, yeah. Laugh it up.
We'll see you later, Mike and Goose.
Take care, everybody. Later, Goose.